LinkedIn,
YouTube,
everybody.
everybody.
Oh, you know what's different this week? We're right here together. We're here together on the word of the week. This is going to be really weird because I'm used to yelling at the screen
Yeah.
or the camera.
And now we got to look at each other.
But now I got to yell at you, and they just got to watch whatever happens next.
I don't know how many people interview other people, but one of the most awkward things that I've found over the last 2 years or so of interviewing people is that if I want to be respectful and look somebody in the eyes, I have to look this way, but I'm ignoring the entire camera. So if I'm looking this way, it's Joe, tell me what the word of the week is. It's just weird.
But I can see you there, so I guess I can talk to you through the camera.
Yeah. Actually, this setup that we have here is different than other setups because we actually have a monitor that actually shows us what it is. A lot of times it's just a camera.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the monitor is up there and the camera's down here. So we're looking at the picture, but we're not looking at the camera.
Yeah. So like if I'm going to get intense, I'm going to look right into the camera and be like, I'm talking to you. You. Yes, you. I'm talking to you.
But if we're looking up there, then we're just looking at your comments and whatever people are saying. So
yeah.
Well, there you go. And you know what? I think if there was a camera over your shoulder and a camera over my shoulder, not saying there is or there isn't. But if there were, then I could look at you, but it'd look like I'm looking at the camera.
Oh yeah, because you could like look right past. Yeah.
Then we would need a camera person. And
if anybody wants to come and set up a camera system with us and you know all these switches and stuff, you know, just you comment and we'll invite you to run 75 cameras so we can have multiple angles. We could do a 360 pano.
But then you'd have to come to Florida.
Yeah.
And Ohio.
Yeah.
At the same
time. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't recommend that we all go to Ohio right now since they just got dumped on by a bunch of snow. And I'm actually really glad to be in Florida.
You're not allowed to go to Ohio if you're in Ohio.
Well, that's true because it's on the travel ban.
While you're in Ohio, you can't leave Ohio.
For anybody concerned about the COVID restrictions, I left Ohio, which was on the travel restriction list, to come to a safer place in Florida because they're not.
COVID doesn't apply in Florida, apparently.
I'm just apparently not allowed to go home.
You read the news article. The one that said that if you're in Ohio and traveling to Ohio, you have to quarantine in Ohio.
Yeah.
Before you can go to Ohio. It was hilarious.
It was kind of funny.
It was a real news story.
Yeah, no,
but it was a leading headline just to kind of be funny.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually the number of articles that came out afterwards clarifying what that means was kind of funny.
Was even better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here we are. It's Thursday morning. It's 8:31.
Yeah.
The weather outside. I felt like I should have just went right into weather and traffic there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, it's 8:31, so I guess we should get started.
Yeah, we should.
With our thing. Our thing is word of the week.
Word of the week.
And let me tell you how this is supposed to work. There's paper in this bucket with words on it. And we're supposed to reach in and pull out a piece of paper and read it.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to one piece of paper is the truth. And last night we were discussing, hey, is there really paper? And I was like, yeah, Roy, there's really paper in there with words on it. And he says to me, okay, so we randomly have been randomly picking.
It says we have no audio. The comments are just coming in. They're flying in. We have no audio.
Who set up the audio?
It says there's audio. Is it only on Facebook that there's no audio?
Roy.
Uh-oh.
This is a problem, man.
This is a problem. David, thank you for letting us know that there's no audio.
He can't hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, give me the mic. Give me the thing.
Is there a blocking up in the top right corner there?
Where's the audio settings on this thing?
Well, no.
Hold on.
No, the settings down there.
Down here.
Yeah.
Right, let me see something, because sometimes.
It's showing.
Yeah, but sometimes you can do this.
Okay. Oh, there. Oh, yeah.
Can you hear us now?
There we go.
You can hear us now?
So that was great. So all that laughing and stuff, you're all just laughing at us because we're laughing for nothing.
Hold on. Can you hear us now, Mike? Can you hear us now, David? Please comment and let us know.
Yeah.
I got sound.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, see, sometimes you got to click the right button.
Yeah.
So you missed all of our banter. I get it. See, what just happened here is I was calling Roy out for cheating.
How come they get to hear this part, but they don't get to hear the other part?
They get to hear the part where you were cheating? About the word of the week in the bucket. And so I'm feeling maybe you sabotaged the audio here. So people couldn't hear me tell them. So I'm going to repeat it.
Oh, Mike could hear it the whole time. It's just David that couldn't hear it. So he got to hear it. That's good.
Well, it's interesting.
All right. Well, anyways, go
Anyway,
ahead. Call me out. Call me
Word
out.
of the week. We're down to one piece of paper in the bucket. So we need you guys to all give us words for the bucket.
Yes.
But Roy
please.
did peek to see what the word of the week is.
I did peek.
Which means he has to go first.
I do have to go first. Now, I'm not a big fan of
Hold on. We
excuses.
should tell people what the word of the week is, maybe? Oh, wait. You tell me when.
No,
Tell me when they are allowed to know what you already know.
I'm going to click the button because I didn't want to distract everybody by trying to put the word in the week and typing and everything. And so I cheated. I looked at the word. The word of the week is planning.
And that whole rant was not distracting at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. We should probably go back to the chat.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put it here and I'm going to leave it. All
That
right.
way we can see what
There we
people
go.
are talking about.
Yeah. Joe has told me in the past that it's distracting when I click all the buttons of like word of the week and follow Roy and follow Joe. And so I was really trying to just put one thing up there and leave it. So that way I didn't have to constantly mess with it. But all right. But we'll get to the point because I know that's why you're here. It's the word of the week.
Word of the week.
The word of the week. And it is planning. And so because I cheated, I get to go first. So planning. The root word, the Anglo-Saxon definition. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know what it is. Well, I'll tell you the thing I like about the word planning.
Tell me.
And that is that I don't know if anybody else that's watching has ever been here. You get to the end of the day and you think, what happened today? Like, I don't even know what I did. I spent all day putting out fires. I know that I was busy from sun up to sundown. I'm exhausted from all the work that I did, but I can't tell you what I did. And I find that is the direct result of the lack of planning and the lack of prioritizing what's the most important for our day. And so when I think of planning, I think of telling my resources, whatever they are, whether that be time, money, attention, focus, whatever, telling it what I'm going to do with it today or this quarter or this year, if we're talking about long-term planning. But I want to plan my day intentionally. So that way, when I get to the end of the day, I can not only tell you exactly what I did, but I can know that I chose the most important things with my time and I didn't waste it on energy suckers. And I didn't waste it on things that other people could do or things that were not as important as the things that I planned to do.
That was very profound. That's good. I like it. No, I like it.
Sometimes I don't know when you're kidding.
I mean that sincerely, right?
Okay, all right.
No, because that's true. I mean, we've all had long, rough days and we're like, gosh, I just feel like I've worked, I was busy all day, but I don't know that I got anything accomplished.
Yes.
So how do we know if we're winning or losing
Yes.
if we don't have a plan that's going to tell us whether we're winning or losing, right?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I like that. For me, it's like planning is, I'm an analogy kind of guy, so I'll share that with you. And I always like the analogy of programming your GPS. When you want to go somewhere, you put it into the GPS. We can say that now. I mean, back in the old days, we used to pull out the map and say, that's where we want to go. And we would kind of look at it. We literally would plan our route to get there.
Mm-hmm.
The GPS is the same thing now. We put in our destination and then it gives you the list of directions that you have to follow, but it gives you step by step as you go. And I think that for me, that's just planning, is setting your destination so that you know when I do all of these things, and here's how I do all these things to get where I want to be. But when I do all these things, I will arrive where I intended to arrive. And that's really important. Otherwise, you're just kind of driving around the freeways, the dirt roads, the interstates or whatever, and maybe you'll come across something that's good, right? Something that works. And or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just waste a lot of gas. So wow, I like that. So what you're talking about is, what do I know if I wasted gas or if I was heading in a direction where I want to end up?
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, that's what planning is
Yeah.
It's programming the GPS, setting the destination. Then there's following the plan. All right. So tell me what you think about this. If you set your GPS or you have a plan, because the first step of planning is knowing where you're going. You got to know where you want to go.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a whole other word of the week. It's certainly a whole other conversation, right? On how do you determine the right destination?
Yeah.
Because the plan gets you there, but the destination itself, making sure that is, and I'm not talking about your daily priorities. I'm talking about your long-term goals, your short-term goals, right? So long-term would be maybe 10 years from now, but what do I want to accomplish this year? And shorter than that would be,
Mhm.
man, I've got 3 weeks left before 2020 is over. What are some things I need to absolutely accomplish to put this year in the books, despite all the adversity and weird things that happened this year, that I can come out of this year knowing that it's behind me,
Mhm.
that it was the biggest win I could get out of this year, and that I'm going to fresh slate next year. How do you do that? How do you?
Well, it's what's interesting is when you talk about the GPS analogy, when we're driving down the highway, if we're following the GPS, it's a lot easier to stay focused on our destination. Especially for me, I drove down here to Florida. It was we did it over 3 days because we had planned stops along the way. But it was also, we weren't getting distracted by all of the side roads. And I think one of the things about life is that there are so many intersections that we come to in life, and there's so many grass is greener on the other side moments that we lose focus on our ultimate destination. We've said it before, but when we give up what we want most for what we want right now, and I think that is something that is very easy to do when we're on that path. So I'm getting distracted by what's on my left or on my right.
Right.
When I'm looking at the GPS, I see I have 14 hours left on my journey. I see I have, 1,000 miles or whatever left on my journey. And honestly, it's a lot easier to say to the kids in the backseat, no, you can hold it for 7 more exits until we stop for dinner, because I don't want that 17 hours to turn into 17 and a half hours. I want to see those numbers ticking down.
Where you're going, right?
You're right. And when we have a GPS for life, a plan that we put together for ourselves, and we write it down, which is vitally important, write it down somewhere that we look at daily, it's easier to stay focused on what we want most. Look at fitness, a great example. January 1st, I'm just waiting for all of the posts about people who decided to hit the gym, and all the people who have been hitting the gym all year long getting mad at all these people who all of a sudden showed up at their gym, right? We know it's coming. But what we also know is coming is 1 to 2 months in, all of those people are going to disappear. Or most of those people are going to disappear. And the reason being is because they don't know what success looks like. They maybe lose a couple pounds, or maybe they gain a couple ounces of muscle, and they don't see the big result that they're looking for. And they miss the fact that small actions over time create big results.
Incremental improvement.
Hey, you just made a reel about that last night.
Yeah.
And your post on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. And I think that's important, is that when we have something written in front of us, like the GPS, it will help us stay laser focused on where we're going. And if we see the things like 17 hours remaining, not only do I know how much time I have remaining, but I also know that I don't want to step off the track, because I don't want that number to get any bigger, if I can help it.
Right. I don't want to wear this analogy out, but it's a pretty good one. So I'll just take it away from the analogy for a second and just go to this idea. So many times we've set a plan.
Yeah.
And I think planning is critical for success, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's planning your career, like what do I want to be when I grow up? So now I've got to go to college and do these things, get this experience so I can apply for the job. This is where I see myself 10 years from now, VP of a company, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're in that job or in a career and you want to go, climb the ladder, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a business, or, hey, this is where I see my life with my family. It could be any aspect of life that you're planning for. What happens when things don't go as planned?
Mm-hmm.
Obstacles. When do you abandon a plan because it's no longer applicable, right? If you were let's say this, if you were going to get into the restaurant business this year, probably not the best move, right? But that was your plan. You know what? We're going to move to Ohio and open up an Amish restaurant or whatever. I don't know why Amish, but Amish make good food. So,
Well, that's true. Very true.
you know, we're gonna move to this Ohio and open a restaurant, and that's our retirement plan. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna a country restaurant, and that's what we're gonna do. And you made that plan last year, and so maybe for the past 10 years, been saving up for it, and you've got the money, you've got the loan, you got the business plan. January comes, February, March, boom, COVID hits. Not the best time to be in the restaurant business, let alone open a new restaurant. So what do you do with that plan? Like, you've got a plan. You've executed the plan to the T. And then all of a sudden, something that's completely out of your control comes crashing in, and you have to reevaluate that plan. What do you do? Or how do you know? Can you? Let me ask you just that question. Is it okay to abandon a plan if things don't look good for it?
Well, I think I kind of have two different thoughts on this.
Okay.
And one is kind of thinking back to what you said a little bit ago about, all your life, you're just following this plan.
Right.
Because I was just thinking about that this morning, and how as we grow up in America, there is a plan set in front of us for the most part. You finish high school, maybe you go to college or a trade school, you finish that, you choose your degree program, and then you get a job in that career.
Right.
And then you start climbing that ladder that you're talking about. And I think in a lot of cases, sometimes you wake up one morning and you realize that, in John Maxwell's analogy, your ladder's leaning up against the wrong building. You've climbed the ladder for all these years. Sometimes you wake up and you realize that you're not happy with the choices that you've made that have put you where you are. And in that case, in that situation, I think that you do have to reevaluate the plan. And if you're even on the same road that you thought you started on, or if the where you are is where you want to be. But in terms of the restaurant analogy, I think there's a little bit of a different situation there, because I believe that sometimes what we believe are insurmountable obstacles are really just temporary road bumps. And those temporary road bumps, in some cases, well, maybe they'll throw you off the path that you're on, but sometimes I think that they'll hurdle you past the competition.
All right.
That's
fair.
And like COVID, none of us could have predicted COVID, right? When we fill out our SWOT analysis, nobody ever, I'm pretty sure that not many people wrote global pandemic.
Yeah, I know I didn't.
I did.
I know I didn't write that
Right?
down.
But I'm thinking back to our conference, and we saw Kay and Shai, and they were showing how not only did they lean into their community, and they were open and honest with them. They said, look, this isn't easy for us, but help us out in any way that you can so we can be here when we're done. And they pivoted with the times, right? They changed up, they introduced, well, I don't know if they introduced it, but they pushed the online ordering, the curbside pickup, the delivery, and they adapted to the situation that they were in. And they had struggles. They still have struggles. They have new struggles today.
But that plan looked different. That's my point, is the plan they had for this year and the plan they executed this year, completely different plans. Carlos Gil.
Yes.
Released his book in October.
Yes.
Booked a worldwide tour of speaking engagements.
Yes.
What's he doing today? He's running a mask company.
Selling masks.
And doing well, killing it.
Yeah, check out Outlaw Masks.
Outlaw Masks. I mean, that is an example, and it's the adaptation. I think that's the point, though, is that they adapted. Carlos adapted. We've adapted. This was the year we kick off our speaking career, doing public speaking ourselves.
Online.
Now it's online or something. Now it's boiled down to word of the week.
That's word of the week.
It's word of the week
from this guy.
This is our speaking engagement right here, you guys. Welcome to the party. That's not what I was about to say. But the point is that they had to change the plan. They're not going forward without a plan. That's not what I'm saying. But the destination they programmed initially is different than where they are today. How they got there is different because what they did, and this is important, I think this is my point of view on it. I'm going to just share my point of view on this, is sometimes, and if we're doing a good job, right? If we decide where we want to be. We program the destination and we build a plan to get there. As we are going along the journey, executing that plan, there daggone better be measurables that tell us, just like the GPS lady tells you, turn left up here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a roadblock ahead. All of that. We better be listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there is a roadblock ahead, we need to be prepared on how we're going to handle that roadblock. And sometimes that means we're never going to reach that destination. The reason we wanted to go to Philadelphia in the first place doesn't exist anymore. That corporate headquarters moved to Boston. We better reprogram and get a new plan and go to Boston, right? And so many times, though, we get so focused on the destination that we're executing a plan that's going to take us somewhere we don't want to be.
Yeah, well, I do think, though, that a lot of times the destination doesn't necessarily change. And I think what you said is accurate in that when we program a GPS for a destination, if there are obstacles, it'll detour us. And I think what we're on with, especially with COVID, is I think that we're on a detour. I don't, like, for example, Kay and Shai, I think that they are still very passionate about being restaurant owners.
And they will. They'll kill it. They always will.
And their destination isn't changing, but the plan, like you said, is changing. And I do believe that you're right. When you're so focused on the plan, what is it that you always say, that when you speak in absolutes, there's no room for common sense?
That's pretty close. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And so when you're so focused on the plan, you're so absolutely, I will take this highway the entire way, period. I will get there in 17 hours. I will, whatever. When you hit a detour, if you're not willing to go around the detour, you're going to end up in a river because the bridge is out.
Brother, and you got to stop for gas and bathroom breaks and food and all of these things that are not necessarily documented in the plan, but need to be accounted for.
Yes.
They need to be accounted for.
Yes. And so adaptability, I think, is what we're talking about here, is adapting to overcome the circumstance,
right,
to reach our ultimate destination, our long-term goal, our big, hairy, audacious goal, right?
Yes.
And it's going to look like this to some effect because it has to. There is no straight line from point A to point B.
So if you're watching this and you're asking yourself, wait a minute, you guys just said the plan, but then you said, don't worry about the plan. That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that the plan will help you know how to achieve or reach your destination. And you have to be able to know what you're measuring along the way. You have to listen to the voice, the GPS, the step-by-steps, because that's your accountability. Whether it's personal accountability, saying, hey, I knew I was going to do this, and in order to get there, I got to do this. I'm on track or off track, winning or losing, and the accountability partner piece. Somebody in the passenger seat that's saying, hey, look, there's a cop up here, slow down. I know you've got a thought, but I got to finish this one, please. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're saying is, we're not saying don't worry about planning. We're saying definitely plan, follow it, use common sense, follow your measurables. We're also saying that it's okay. It's okay to change the plan when the new information that comes warrants a change of plans. But don't do that every day, because if you never had a plan to begin with, you're wandering aimlessly. You don't know if you're heading in the right direction. You don't know if you're even making progress towards a destination that you desire. So yes, you have to plan, because otherwise all this winging it is what it sounds like, but it's really adapting. All this adapting should be bringing you closer to your goal, should be information that you gather that makes your journey more fulfilling, should makes it more productive, because that's what adaptability is, not winging it. Adaptability is following the plan, but making good choices with new information that's going to get you closer to your destination.
Yep.
Thanks for letting me say that.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Well, and the other thing about planning is that I was watching a video a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about planning a photography trip to a specific destination. And they found out in planning that there was a festival the week before they were planning on being there, like a huge festival.
Right.
And like they were able to actually change their trip to actually go a week earlier so that they could be there for the festival. And they ended up with amazing stories. how disappointed would you be to get to your destination to find out that last week was the most epic event of the year
Right.
and you missed it because you didn't plan? Now, sometimes planning doesn't work. We talked about that.
Yeah.
For example, on the way down here, I was really excited about stopping in Chattanooga because in Chattanooga, there is Signal Mountain that you can drive up. I did find there's a UFO house on the way up, which was kind of cool. It's a historic landmark. It was on one of the Travel Channel shows talking about this
Oh yeah, I think I've
this
seen
house.
that. Yeah.
And
Like
we got
the
to see it.
funky architects or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a UFO, and we're driving up the mountain, and we get to the top of the mountain, and it's been raining all day. And I'm like, this isn't going to be worth anything. And we got to the top of the mountain. We walked to the overlook, and we looked out, and all we saw was a gigantic white wall of a cloud. And so we made jokes with the kids about being in a cloud, and we're walking in the clouds, and how cool is this, and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, I'm like really disappointed because I love landscape photography. I have a camera. I'm standing on top of a mountain. I have nothing to take a picture of except for a white wall. But that's okay, because we got to see a UFO house. We got to make memories. We got to talk about going up this mountain and down this mountain, and that's okay. That was fun. But we also planned on stopping at the Georgia Aquarium. And we went to the Georgia Aquarium, and it was epic. My kids' expressions were amazing. Like, they were just ecstatic about being. They watched the aquarium on TV. They got to see these animals that they saw on the television show. They got to see some of the trainers. I mean, their minds were blown. They were starstruck over sea otters or whatever, my heart was full from that. But it only happened because we planned on going. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And that's a real life example. But at the end of the day, my destination was Clearwater, Florida, here at this office. And we're here.
Yeah.
We specifically chose the stopping points on the
But you
destination.
planned your route.
But I planned the route. Yeah,
And you planned the adventure.
exactly.
And you got to you got more out of it than just one destination. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. What does John Maxwell always say? He says
He
that
says a lot of stuff.
well, he does, but he says something along the line so that if you wait for opportunity to plan, you'll miss it every time, or you'll be too late.
That's true. That guy's pretty smart.
Well, he certainly is.
All right, we got 4 minutes. So let's what do you say? Recap this thing?
Let's recap this thing.
All right. Roy cheated on Word of the Week.
Yes, I did.
Took a peek in the festivities can. Let's see. So next week's Christmas.
Next week is Christmas Eve, I think, on Thursday, right? I'm going to be driving.
Maybe I'll do a Word of the Week. Maybe it'll be Christmas.
Yeah, comment right now. Do you want to see Joe
if
do
you
Word of
want
the Week?
to join me next week
Ooh,
on Christmas Eve for Word of the Week, shoot me a message.
yeah.
Send me a message. See if you want to join me. We'll just talk about Christmas. And you know what we'll do? We'll just say now, the Word of the Week could be family.
Family.
So,
Right.
So
if you want to join Joe next week on Word of the Week, family, send him a message.
Word of the Week is family next week. Tell me about your family.
JoeMans.com is his website, and all of his contact information is there. So you can get it there, or joe.marketing, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Or you can just message me on Facebook or Instagram or
Yeah, I guess there's all those
leave
too.
a comment, whatever. Anyway,
Yes.
So this week's Word of the Week is planning.
Yep.
Set your destination, program your GPS.
And we're out of words. Our
Yeah, we
bucket
need
is
more
empty.
words.
We need more
We need
words.
more
So
words.
comment the words, or shoot us some messages. Tell us some words you
Or
want to
we're
hear us
just
talk
going to
about.
make words up.
Yeah, well, if you don't give me a word, I will choose the word ameliorate, and you will have to listen.
Yeah, I might not. I might be sick that day.
Yeah, but the irony is that ameliorate means to heal or to make better. So we need to ameliorate our word of the week situation.
Okay, so that's what we'll do.
So in other words, Joe says, please give me words of the week. Please.
Please, words.
Either that, or we're just gonna have to buy a word of the week calendar, and we're gonna have like these huge words that nobody knows or
Just
never.
bring the dictionary, open it up, random. You'll be surprised as us. Man.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so plan your destination, plan how you're going to get there. Make sure that there's accountability checks or measures along the way so that you know you're winning every day. What is the one thing that I need? This is the first thing I do every day. What is the one thing I need to accomplish today? Just one, not 50.
Yeah.
I got a long list of to-dos, but I pick one thing. And it's not something simple like check my email. I'm going to do that anyway. But I pick one thing every day that I need to accomplish before I left. What's the last thing I did when I left the office yesterday?
You did an Instagram reel.
I did an Instagram reel because when I came in yesterday, I knew it was going to be a crazy day. We had a lot going on, but I hadn't posted a reel in like a week, which is an eternity in Instagram reel world, apparently. And I said, I got to do this today before I leave. And the last thing I did on the way out the door, and when I left yesterday, as tired as I was, I knew it was a win.
Yeah.
Because my plan was to produce this content,
Mhm.
share my stories, share tools and tips with awesome people like you. So every day when you go in, get that one thing, put one thing at the top of your list that is going to help you get closer to the destination, that is part of your plan,
Mhm.
that's going to tell you that you won today, that today was a great day and you accomplished something.
Yeah. And I think it's important to write it down. I think it's really important to write down that thing that you need to accomplish that you can remember, and it's right in front of your face. And, you know, as we discussed, I think we have to leave room for detours to take place if things come up that are unavoidable. But I also think that it's important when you have that one thing written down, you can choose if that one thing is more important than the other distractions that pop up during the day.
Sure.
And I think that's, again, back to that GPS reference. If you're at a stop sign and the GPS says to go straight, but there's something catching your eye to the left or to the right, because you have the GPS in front of you, you see where you're going, you know your destination. It's easier to say, is it more important to get to my destination than it is to do one of these distractions? Because there's fire drills that come up every day. There's always going to be somebody calling you, messaging you, emailing you with a problem or something that, you know, they want to talk about. And it's going to pull you away from what is the most important thing you decided for yourself that you're going to do today. And so write it down and then decide, is what this person is asking me to do, or is this thing more important than the thing I wrote down as the most important thing that I can accomplish today?
I'd say do it anyway. Do it anyway. Do them both. Do that thing and then do the other thing.
Well, yeah, but the point is that you don't want to lose focus on that one thing, because like you said,
That
at
is
the
a
end of the
good point.
day,
That's where
you
you're
got-
going with that.
yeah, you got,
Okay.
it was 6
I got
o'clock
you.
before you posted your reel, but you got it done.
But I got it done. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
think I understood what you were saying until you said that.
Yeah, that's because I'm not a very good communicator, but I'm working on it.
I think you're a great communicator.
I'm working
Like
on
if you agree. Roy's a great communicator. All right, Roy, I appreciate you, man.
it. You too.
And we appreciate all of you who are taking your time out of your morning on a Thursday
Yeah.
to spend it with us. So please comment. We need words because I'm not going to do
Ameliorate.
that word next week or the week after.
And message Joe if you want to be on the Word of the Week with him next week, talking about the word family, because I'm going to be driving with my family back to my home.
We'll talk about him.
Feel free. Yeah.
We only have good things to say, so it'll be a good conversation. All right.
All righty, folks.
Y'all take care.
Bye.